1 in 150, 1 in 125, 1 in 110, 1 in 88, 1 in 68, 1 in 59. These are the number of individuals identified as having an autism spectrum disorder across the last 12 years.
While autism is a disorder that has a worldwide reach, it is important to realize that it affects so many individuals in Moberly and the surrounding areas.
There's no manual when it comes to autism. There's no black and white. People think that there's a certain way that a person with autism is supposed to look, and you don't know until you're in it that there's a whole array that kids have and the needs that they have and what autism looks like for them.
I struggle with the judgment of others. What will they think? Will Adeline be able to make friends? And like during meltdowns, for instance, like when she's 2 or 3, it's acceptable versus now she's 10. So it's really hard to, have a kiddo on the floor screaming, kicking, she won't get up, and there's people, staring, judging you.
It's hard for me to know what Tanner's thought process is, what his feelings are all the time, because he doesn't talk about them much. It also is difficult to know what his future is going to be, what it's going to look like as an adult with autism.
Sometimes it gets lonely. Sometimes you feel like people don't understand because they're not in it.
I often get asked so many times, I don't know how you do it. The reality of it is that I don't really know how I do it sometimes either.
I have a brother that's autistic, and I've had the opportunity to educate him as well on the way that he needs to act if he's encountered by law enforcement on the street, because he's an adult and he's functioning.
Having friends with children that have autism, it's really opened my eyes. It definitely gives you a different way to look at life. Simple things to us that's just a sound, just a noise, we kind of shrug it off. It can be a very, very disruptive noise to a child with autism.
The number of children diagnosed with autism has increased, and it's unclear how much of this is due to changes in diagnostic criteria, better efforts to identify children early, and true increases in the number of children with autism now than in the past.
When you discover that your child or someone you know is affected by autism spectrum disorder, it changes your world in some of the most challenging but yet beautiful ways. Some simple things that we take for granted can be the most difficult things for individuals or families walking through the journey of ASD.
Just the patience and seeing the different colors in all children with autism.
Brody is my oldest. He was 4 and was considered nonverbal. Watching him go from nonverbal to a 7-year-old now who is a fountain of knowledge. He never stops talking. And then like with Chase, watching him when he was diagnosed at 2.5, shortly after that he started having explosive behaviors, very problematic. He was headbanging. He just had so much going on in his head and he didn't know how to cope with it. So just for him to find effective coping strategies through ABA therapy, that's been amazing. It was like a 180 the second we got him into ABA. Peyton, who's 4 and he's nonverbal and uses a device to communicate, the simplest things that parents don't even realize: clapping, pointing, eye contact, first words, hearing him say ball. That's been probably one of the most surprising things that I didn't ever know would hit me the way it has.
I didn't know exactly where to start at, but as soon as we got the diagnosis, I did get him enrolled in the speech and OT. Support that Tanner has from the community is amazing. They're very accepting of him.
Learning how much patience I had with Adeline when she had her, when she was overstimulated, had her meltdowns, the progress she's making towards her milestones, and know that she's going to accomplish these goals on her time. Now she's talking in sentences and using her silverware and using the restroom and that kind of thing.
It's just really nice to have that child that, yes, he has autism, but he is a shining star. When you meet him, you just know.
Unfinished Pieces was founded in January of 2018 with a mission to help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by autism. we have been able to work with many individuals and businesses to provide treatment and better services for those affected by autism.
As Fusion technology grows, we like to take and give back to the public as well. With it, we recognize individuals with autism or other disorders to try and help them as well. There's many, many devices that we can help provide and research for you to help you find a device that will help a child that's non-communicating, someone that's having difficulties learning. There's several aspects of technology that we can help with. I've had a customer come in recently, her nephew has autism. They didn't know where to turn or what kind of device to get. Immediately I knew that Nikki had been previously working with an app to help a child that's nonverbal, and I immediately knew that she needed to get an Apple iPad. The reason being is the apps that are on iPad are very, very specific and are very helpful. They're geared towards children that are nonverbal. With that, that's where Unfinished Pieces come in. I gave Nikki a call. She got her guided in the right direction, and that child now has a case manager and can actually receive the help that he needs.
Applied Behavior Analysis, or ABA, is the most effective treatment for children with autism. It identifies their strengths and challenges and uses highly specific teaching to help them learn ways to communicate, play, and engage in social activities.
He really did not like haircuts. And now he sets like a perfect little gentleman. A lot of it is the vibrations and the sound. The biggest thing is being patient with him. Just because he's crying or, squirming doesn't mean that he's just a bratty kid or he just doesn't want a haircut. I mean, we have to understand that there's things going on that, are really hard to understand.
One huge thing we have seen in the community is the Autism Directory, established with the help of the Moberly Police Department.
We wanted to come up with a means to identify and have information here at the station in the event that a child ran from the house. So we need to have a directory. Law enforcement's issue is not that we're not compassionate or care about them, is that we don't know how to respond to those with autism. And what was happening is that officers were responding. They were expecting people to look at them, expecting them to talk to them. They wouldn't do it. They took that as that this person is being obstinate, they're being difficult. The officers would touch them. We didn't know that a lot of people were touch sensitive with autism, and suddenly we'd be in a knockdown, drag out fight simply because we didn't understand the condition that individual had. We thought it was important to avoid those if at all possible. One way to do that was to recognize and educate our officers in what autism is, how to approach people with autism, and what to do with them afterwards. And so the directory came as part of that.
We launched the directory in April of 2018, and from that month forward, we've put information out, allowing people to come on a volunteer basis. During that process, they fill out an application and they put information in there, like if their loved one is a wanderer. If they do wander, where have they been located before? One of the other things that we do is we issue stickers out to the families. They get 2 stickers. One of them we recommend putting on the back of their car, and the other one on the front of their residence. So that way, if law enforcement or first responders respond to that, they see that sticker. Law enforcement has access to the information on the person that's autistic. So that way they can go armed with that information into the residence or in say a traffic accident, and they can know that the calming techniques, triggers that person may have, and they can utilize all that information to have.
Not only do police have to learn how to interact with people with disabilities and autism, is also sometimes those people don't know actually how to interact with us and are actually scared. So we do our best to interact with them so they can come, they'll feel free to approach us. So they know whenever we're there to help them. We can talk to them, they can come up and talk to us. And the more interactions we have, the better off it is.
Through the work of Unfinished Pieces, great things are happening in the Moberly area, but there is still more work to be done.
Many children in rural communities do not have access to important behavioral services or qualified providers. Parents still face high copays for much needed treatments.
I would like to see more organizations become autism friendly. I'd also like to see more trainings and conferences come to Randolph County to help educators and families.
I'd like to see more therapies and more resources available in general. I know right now Atticus has to go all the way to Columbia just to get speech therapy.
There are not very many resources out there for adults like there are for the kiddos. The focus is on the kiddos, as it should be, but those kiddos are not going to stay kiddos forever.
My hope is that over the next 15 years, members of the community continue to learn about autism and the beauty and challenges that come with it, and that we continue to grow to be able to give children with autism all of the opportunities to learn and grow that they deserve.
Personally, I think it's good for everyone to learn about autism, even if you don't have a child or a family member that's autistic. It really gives you a different way to look at life.
Everybody knows somebody with a form of autism. The awareness of it is a huge deal. I think there's so many people have no idea what it even is or how it affects people.
We are so thankful to our community for believing in what we are working for. The support we have been shown has been incredible. We will continue to work until all the pieces fit. This means our job for advocacy, education, and awareness will never end as we work to change the way that people view autism.